So we are here for round 2 in our Streets of New Capenna top 8 mega draft. We're just waiting on the players to get into the game, which they're about to. So we're watching two players that were teammates during the main section, a sealed section of our league. Cody-Rayce, who we see has a black-white deck, against Sawyer, who has a blue-black deck. They both won in the first round. And in the case of this mega draft, before we get into the game, all of the points were so close together, nobody was so far ahead or so far behind, that whoever wins the mega draft just wins the league outright. Since usually there's a points ponderation where that doesn't always work out that way, but here whoever wins the draft wins the league. So what are we looking at?
I'll just describe the hand that we're looking at from the other point, from Sawyer's point of view. It was 5 lands, a Hobbling Zombie and a Hullbreaker Horror was the keep. And we drew into Scab Wrangler now for turn 2.
Yeah, so Sawyer's deck has quite a few impactful bombs, as does Cody-Rayce. So as we saw when we were looking through the pools, he started off his draft with a Sanctuary Warden, and then in the second pack, which was Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, got Junji, which is the black mythic dragon. So that sort of led him on a path to be drafting black-white. And seemed to have worked out in the first round. Sawyer, we know, has a Hullbreaker Horror. He has a Xanathar as well, the Guild Kingpin, and just a lot of quite a few other on-color rares as well. So both seem to have some pretty powerful decks here. Black was heavily drafted, but turns out there was enough to go around because most of the black players they won their matches. So we saw Adam S, who's playing blue-black, and then we have Emmett, who's playing Esper. They're the other ones who won their round. So all of the winners have black as a primary color, and 3 of them have blue. So
Sawyer's going to have to choose between Hobbling Zombie and No Way Out here, it seems, on turn 3.
Looks like he's best served with a Hobbling Zombie, I would say.
Yeah. No Way Out's better when you got 2 cards, when your opponent's holding 2 cards.
Yeah,
by a long shot.
Absolutely. Yeah, the creature doesn't block, so
it's good to know both of those things make Decayed Zombies, which work pretty well, all inside the same set synergy here.
Yeah, it looks pretty well. Yeah, we got some Innistrad Midnight Hunt taking over the board here. 3/4 of the creatures are from that set. So Cody's got some choices here. He does not have another land to play. He has an Inscription of Ruin, which can kill one of the creatures. Can also be a Mind Rot. He has a Cleric of Life's Bond, which triggers off of clerics entering the battlefield, or gets a counter when you gain life. And he has another Arrogant Poet and a Ghastly Gloom Hunter, which is the 2-mana 1/1 flying lifelink with kicker. So not a wealth of amazing plays, but he's going to have stuff to do. So even if he doesn't get all his lands, he'll have stuff to do for the next few turns. Even if it's not exciting, he'll still be affecting the board.
Any clean answers to Hullbreaker Horror that we could think of?
Win before opponent has 7 lands. That's the clean answer, I think.
With that land drop, we have 7 in total here. It's just a matter of turns.
Cody does have an Inscription of Ruin in hand, which can be a Mind Rot. So if he times that well, which, I mean, he doesn't know that it's there, but if he times the Inscription of Ruin well, he might nab the Hullbreaker, but wouldn't count on it. Looks like he's considering discarding it. So he's going to discard his Black Dragon, his 7-drop here. And looks like the Arrogant Poet is hitting the bin also.
If I remember, there is a way to reanimate with Edgar's Awakening in this deck.
Yeah, he has Edgar's Awakening. He has some other good rares too. Cosmos Charger. I mean, card's fine. Cosmos Elixir, which he may or may not be playing. He did send me his deck list right before. I didn't get it was right before the match started. He sent me a link, but so I didn't get it. I didn't study it, but yeah, it looks like both of their decks are pretty strong here. Cody's deck is leaning more aggressive. Definitely like lots of 2-drops, as we see. He's really deciding here. So he's gone with, as I suspected, the Arrogant Poet and the Black Dragon. So he's kept the Cleric of Life's Bond and the Inscription. So if he times the Inscription well, he might nab the Hullbreaker, but other than that, Hullbreaker looks to be something that's going to take over this game, which, as of now, is pretty even, but is going to tip Sawyer's way if he gets his bomb down.
Sawyer's not getting great luck if he gets a few more land drops here, because the hand is 3 lands and a Hull Breaker, so no action yet.
So this Clerk of Life Bond combos with the lifelink flyer here.
Yeah.
Able to hit in and put a counter on the cleric. So the cleric, it says whenever another cleric enters the battlefield, you gain a life, and then I believe it's whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, you put a counter on it. So it can never grow more than 1 counter a turn.
Got some lifelink synergy going on right now, and paying an ability to pay that life for good.
Yeah. So he can get in here. He's gonna so he will attack with the Arrogant Poet since he's gonna be gaining back a life here. Based on Sawyer's board, this is not a race that Sawyer can win. So Cody has no problem paying the life here. He's not under siege. He has a lifelink creature to defend himself with even. Yeah, so this is a very nice little combo here. So this cleric is just going to grow by 1 as long as a ghastly gloom hunter can get in. That cleric's just going to grow by 1 every single turn. So it's getting tapped down. It's getting tapped down at end of turn here, but
Death Toucher on the other side makes it not really matter how big it is at this point.
Yeah, Sawyer's going to need to draw some action here.
It's a Soul Shatter.
Okay, so Soul Shatter kills the farmer. It's you have to sack the highest mana cost creature or planeswalker, which in this case is the farmer, which is like kind of like the least important creature for Cody-Rayce right now. Like the creature that grows and the 2 flyers are just better. So now Cody's drawn. He hasn't drawn a line, but he's drawn a Morbid Opportunist, which was a mythic uncommon, if you recall, from Midnight Hunt. That card was just that performed like a rare, honestly. And
it's a great card to have.
Yeah, so if it looks like it's going to come down to trading resources and removals, then this Morbid Opportunist is gonna really have an impact here. And the Morbid Opportunist doesn't die to the Soul Shatter since he can choose between the Farmer and the Opportunist. He might just fire off the Soul Shatter here so that Cody doesn't draw a card from the Soul Shatter. So not exactly what he wanted to do with his rare removal spell, Sawyer, but yeah. So he has to fire it off here because otherwise the Morbid Opportunist will draw a card from the Desperate Farmer dying. So yeah, like every game, Morbid Opportunist just warps every game that's like close in any way.
Hullbreaker. Is there anything in Cody's hand that that could deal with Hullbreaker once it comes down?
Once it comes down, no, but he has the Mind Rot. So if he times, he has the Inscription of Ruin, which one of the options is just a Mind Rot. So if he times it right, if he can...
The draw is Nightclubber. Sorry to interrupt you. Draw is Nightclubber here.
So Nightclubber can kill 2 creatures. It will draw a card for Cody, but I can't see him not Nightclubbing here.
Now, do you get cheeky and attack with the Decayed Zombie so that the block kills off you post combat Nightclubber? I mean, now this could be next level here.
Well, why not? I guess, right?
I think I would attack with the Decayed Zombie.
I think he might be doing it pre-combat to. Yeah, he just doesn't want the Opportunist to block.
Yeah, but imagine the incentive to block it, because then the
this opens the door for the Mind Rot now, which is probably going to be the different. Which is this Mind Rot might decide who wins the game if he decides to cast it as a Mind Rot.
No, but we draw a card here. Sawyer's going to be drawing a card, so Mind Rot will not get rid of it.
Yes. Okay, so looks like it's going to be a rough go for Cody here. Despite being at 10 life, he just killed the 2 threats, the 2 flyers. And Sawyer's gonna drop his big bomb next turn, and Cody's in a lot of trouble here.
Superstar black 3 drops here going against each other. It's another land.
Yeah, so Cody has drawn a Vengeful Reaper, which is a 4-mana 2/3 flying haste with you could foretell it. Now we'll see if he decides to do that here. He has a Lethal Exploit, which is a -2/-2. He's had that in his hand for a long time. and he has the Inscription of Ruin. So all of these plays, whatever, they're all fine, but we know that there's something lurking. we know what's lurking. That's going to make life very difficult here.
If the Mind Rot does happen, Hullbreaker cannot be played next turn without a land draw. That's one thing.
Yeah, sure. I don't think he's going to Mind Rot here, but he might Lethal Exploit. He was thinking of Lethal Exploit to kill the Scob Wrangler. We'll see. So he's not playing his Flying Haste because he would have done that pre-combat. So it looks like the 4/4 is getting tapped, which means the Opportunist could attack for 1. Yeah, he's just gonna kill the Scab Wrangler here, which is gonna draw him a card, and then he'll probably foretell the Vengeful Reaper. Unless he draws another land to play the Inscription. Yeah. Yeah, so now there's problems. So Cody has a Sigarda's Imprisonment, but so I suppose over 2 turns he could kill the Hullbreaker, but the Hullbreaker could bounce itself with its ability. It's just the card is
the other draw.
The
other draw is a Papercraft Decoy, not incredibly impactful.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just playing that as just like, a stopgap to get him to the late game. Like when you have good late game cards, you just play things that can trade off and maybe get something out of the trade. So,
there is the hidden synergy of bouncing your Papercraft Decoy, paying 2.
Yeah, so Cody is thinking, he's wondering what could be behind the 7 mana. If you're thinking to yourself, what's the worst thing opponent could have? Well, Sawyer has the worst thing that you could think of. If you think of what card in Standard is the worst possible card opponent could have in hand with 7 mana, blue and black, can't get much worse than that. So there's a little Flying Death Touch Haste. This will be able to get in some damage. It's also a Cleric, funnily enough, so it will trigger the Cleric of Life spawn, but the Cleric of Life bond is just getting brickwalled by the Hobbling Zombie here.
Sawyer's in pretty big need of any spells here, no land. So he can start bouncing.
Yeah, so here it comes. Looks like he's about to message. Looks like he's about to message him here. Knew it, he said. Maybe he had some inside news, but as far as we know, the players don't know each other's pools too much.
Top deck, tempted by the Auric. He had no answer to this flyer because it has haste, and now he has tempted by the Auric. Wait, does that only steal small things?
I think it's 4 or less mana.
3 or less, so it doesn't actually kill that. 3 or less
mana, okay.
It doesn't actually deal with that haster, because it is a haster.
Yeah, they're messaging back and forth, as you can see here. They're Cody is lamenting the Hullbreaker horror. He figured, I think he was thinking what I was saying. What's the worst possible thing opponent could have? Well, this is it.
So it looks like double spell is going to happen here.
Yeah, this card is just going to set. Like, the thing is, it when you're behind on life, it just catches you up so quickly. It hits for 7. Like, you just clear the board, attack for, like, it just ends the game so quickly. An opponent, especially with his lack of lands, Cody can't replay everything. He's even going to take the Morbid Opportunist.
Sawyer's taking that, and he gets a free.
Bounce the Cleric.
He gets the free.
He gets to trigger the Morbid Opportunist by attacking with his Decayed. Like, look, he's using him for 13 here. He's dead next turn. In a lot of situations. Yeah, this is, we know Hullbreaker Horror. Anybody who played Crimson Vow knows what this card is, knows what this card does, knows how much it warps games, and there's just so few ways to answer it. Like, you need an instant speed answer immediately. Like, there's just... It has flash, it comes in, your opponent never has a chance to really respond to it. You asked before, what's the strategy to beat it? The strategy is to win before they cast it, in a lot of cases.
The flood kind of helped here, because he hasn't drawn too many spells in total.
Yeah, this is just, no matter what Cody does here, this is just going to be a mess. Yeah, so he's weighing over his options here. With his 4 mana, he can only cast 1 spell. He has all of his spells cost between 2 and 4 mana, so he can deploy one thing, which whatever it is, it won't be enough. His best bet to not die is probably to Sigarda's Imprisonment on the Hullbreaker Horror, just to not take 7 from it. But
so game 2 or 3, we have to see Sawyer pass the 7 mana up and no Hullbreaker in hand, just to do the money.
The bluff, yeah. Yeah. We know Sawyer has some heavy hitters, but we know Cody has some heavy hitting rares too. So he's not without his share of heavy hitters. So he's opted to go for the 2-drop and Foretell, the Vengeful Reaper.
We drew Xanathar now.
Okay. I mean, does he even want to show the Xanathar? Can he win without showing it? Like, I think that's what he's thinking. Yeah. Cody's very astute. He takes in the information well. So Hullbreaker Horror is already a wealth of information. He might not even want to show him this, but he's gonna go ahead and show him everything he's working with here. Yeah.
He's gonna get to draw. Swing out. I mean, the game's over, but
yeah. So he has to block the Hullbreaker. He takes 5, and then there's nothing. As far as we know, Cody doesn't have a board wipe, so no, he doesn't.
That was a really strong start from Cody, but the Nightclubber ruined his day there.
Yeah, he was doing well. The lack of lands didn't punish him too hard because he didn't have high drops. So, the Nightclubber really was the stopgap he needed, because Sawyer was in danger of what we were saying before, which is dying before the Hullbreaker. Like he was taking a lot of flying damage. So looks like Cody. All right, so he's taking out one of his 7 drops, the Black Dragon. Looks like he might be citing out Crippling Fear, which is that. You name a creature and everything other than that creature gets -3.
The type? Yeah, the creature type.
I think. From Kaldheim. Yeah, you name a creature type and everything else other than that gets -3. He's thinking about signing it out. But yeah.
There's 2 Revenge of the Drowned in this deck. Not the most effective, I guess, against a lot of low drops, but can reset the Cleric we saw.
Yeah, well, Revenge of the Drowned is just it's a good interaction. Like it is just a straight up removal. So it's not a bounce spell, right? It's like either the creature's gone forever, which is straight up removal. It's on the bottom of the deck, or it blanks their draw step, which either way it's removal. So, that's what we're getting now from blue.
Great. Yeah, it's great.
Which is good. It's like.
And it gives you a zombie, which we didn't even mention.
Yeah, we're not getting too many of these just bounce a creature spells. So now we're getting these put on top or bottom. And if it's a bounce spell, it's usually like he gets a draw card or something. Because just a bounce spell is just not that great anymore.
Wasn't paying that close attention, but I didn't see any sideboard change right now. We have 2 Join the Maestros in the main deck. Not the most amazing, but I guess with the Decayed Zombies.
Decayed Zombies. Yeah, like Papercraft Decoy. I mean, but you need 7 mana to make full advantage of that. Could be just, I don't know what else he has at 5, but could be just something to fill the space.
I think we cut the I can't remember the name because it's too blurry. The 4 mana 3/3 that lets you roll a dice to scry.
The Ginny Windseer, right? The fly.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So Cody, I think his only cut there was the Black Dragon, the 7 mana 4/4 -3/3. Like all of Sawyer's must kills are all gigantic, as we saw there. So that sort of value play. I mean, even for 7 mana, it's hard to say it's a value play. It's just not going to be impactful enough. Sawyer's going way over the top of what Black Dragon is doing. So Cody needs to go under. He needs to have more 2. He already has a lot of 2-drops, but I think he needs even more here. He just needs to be as fast as possible because he cannot win the late game. He has those couple of mythics that are great. But in most cases, he won't be able to win a very long game.
Not many changes being made from Sawyer.
Yeah, Sawyer's deck was, I think, the one that I wanted to see the most, based on when we looked at the pools. Just because it looked like it was going to be, up there as one of the more powerful decks at the table today.
A couple options, Selhoff and Tumor, and the homunculus that taps to help you.
Yeah,
It
looked like Sawyer's deck is already just like pretty okay at defending itself in the early game, like with 2 and 3 drops. Like a lot of the early drops we saw were like, okay at defending himself. So I don't think he needs to make sweeping changes here. It's a pretty bad hand here from Cody. Only creature is a Speakeasy server, the 5-mana flying, the Bird Citizen from Capenna, and he has some interactive cards. See if he decides to keep this.
I imagine Sawyer's going to keep this three lands, a Silver Raven, which is a 1-drop flyer, Snooping Newsy, which can come down on 2.
Perfect.
Gift of Fangs, and Feed the Serpent. Nice early interaction.
That looks perfect. Though that is a hand. Yeah, so Cody has decided to mulligan, and he's looking at a 1-lander now. Has to go down to 5, looking at another 1-lander. So this is quickly spiraling, unfortunately, for Cody. Yeah, the first land he had 3 lands, one of which was a modal DFC. He had a 5-drop creature, but he had the Inscription of Ruin and a Return to Action, which is it was like the Fake Your Own Death variant from Kamigawa. You just had nothing to do. Like, just didn't have enough stuff to do. Had to send it back. And now he's just looking at 1-landers. So
Return to Action, what did it do besides reanimating? I forget.
I think it gave it lifelink.
Lifelink, yeah.
+1/+0 lifelink, and it comes back into play tapped. Yeah, so he's keeping a 4-lander here. He has 2 swamps. He has a Vengeful Reaper, which was that the flyer with Foretell, and he has a Desperate Farmer. So we'll see if he can draw a land and maybe stick a threat here.
I gotta say, it's another nice draw.
It's gonna be rough.
It's another nice draw with a Befuddler here. Turn 2 even.
Oh, the 2-mana 2/1, the frog?
Yeah.
Yeah, flash gives something -1. -1/-0.
And keeps a swamp on the top, so Feed the Serpent will eventually be playable with the land base here.
Yeah, I think for Sawyer, it's just you're in a how do I lose this game for status, right? When your opponent's mulligans before, you're like, I just need to do everything in my power to make sure I don't give away the game, because right now he's obviously got a huge advantage, and he's got a 2-drop and a 1-drop to back it up. So here comes this flyer, which can put on the pressure. We'll see if it ends up being enough. Cody does have an arrogant. He does have an arrogant poet he can play next turn. We'll see if he can fight the good fight and mount to come back here on this unfortunate series of mulligans.
So a swing out. Oh, sorry, that thing had haste, so there's no block gonna happen.
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah. It has Death Touch, Flying, and Haste, and it's a cleric for all of his. For his 1 card that benefits from clerics.
And a 4-drop you can play with 2 mana.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. It's something here. He's drawn a Gift of Fangs, so if he's concerned about getting the Snooping Newsy, he can kill that. He's opting to just go with the Arrogant Poet, which can trade off here.
The draw's Revenge of the Drowned. That's going to be real good for him, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's just going to be a removal, because he can't put either of these cards on top of his deck, I don't think. I can't imagine.
Not going to play Revenge of the Drowned. It looks like he's going to play Gift of Fangs for the removal. The thing that's good with Revenge this turn is you can't play that your 4-drop next turn.
Yeah, did he have a follow-up play?
No, that's all.
Yeah, it might have been better to Revenge there, but again, this is like sort of Sawyer has to be thinking like, I just need to take every action to make sure I don't lose, because he just started out with a 3-card advantage, really a 4-card advantage, because he was on the on the draw.
He's deciding what to revenge, it seems here.
Yeah, I mean, he just can't put this on top, so this is just going to be a straight-up removal that gives him a resource on top of removing the creature.
Now, the pounding won't stop, because we're going to see that Decayed Zombie turn into 2 Maestros, 4/3s, joining the Maestros.
Oh.
If there's a land draw.
I didn't know that they were I didn't know that the Maestros were interested in recruiting decaying zombies, but I guess they'll take anybody, right? They're a group of assassins, I believe. So
Yeah.
just
That's if we get a line drop. If not, it's just feed the serpent or custodian.
I mean, if anything's a casualty, it's a zombie that's already decaying. So yeah, he's thinking here, but I don't imagine there's much of a decision. He can't afford to draw this.
I don't think so.
Because he can't even cast it. He does put it on top. So he's done this because so next turn he can foretell it, and he can also play his Gift of Fangs to kill the Snoopy Newsy. He weighed that, like how many cards can he draw that he could be guaranteed to cast, and it's like he has a white card in hand, so if he draws a Plains, he could cast it, but it's just a 2-drop white creature. So he concluded that this was impactful enough, and it was a card he could cast eventually. Enough of his draws were just not going to be good. So, like, what if he draws a land? What if he draws a swamp? Can't do anything. What if he draws a white card? Can't do anything. What if he draws a 4 or 5 drop? Can't do anything. So he settled that was going to be better than most of the random draws here, based on him only having 3 mana and all of them being black. So, yeah, he took his time. He came to the decision, and he figured it was better than a random card, and he's probably correct there.
Sawyer drew a Night Clubber, which is a little awkward on this board. So I think the 2 choices probably Custodian now, or Hold Up Feed the Serpent for this 4-drop that's coming down.
Is that the Custodian from Capenna?
Yeah.
The one that comes
he's about to play it.
Yeah, the 3/2 tapped here. Yeah, so Cody's drawn... so what he would have drawn if he put his Vengeful Reaper on the bottom would have been his 5-drop Mythic Dragon from Neon Dynasty, so not helpful here. Nice to look at, but not helping the cause here.
Not really lucky for Cody today.
Yeah, that first game, again, could have gone either way until the Hullbreaker. Like, Cody did nothing wrong that game. He just played his cards and did everything he could do. He played everything in his hand, almost everything in his hand, despite being short on mana. Now we're just going to see this game come to an end. He's going to get attacked for exactly 5. So, unfortunate there with those mulligans. He hung in there as long as he could, but Sawyer is going to the finals with a chance to win the league. So we'll be back for the finals soon.